We'll call it to order at 3 o'clock. Did everyone get the minutes from the previous October 13th? If not, I could read it to you real quick, very brief.
If you wouldn't mind, Tom, that'd be great. Committee would be lovely.
The meeting was called to order by First Selectman Wyke at 2:08 PM. Those attending were Tom Wyke, Erica Dorset, Vinael, Ben Pileski, Kyle Rosenbeck, Maureen Doyle, and Rick Nicoletti. Maureen, were you there?
No,
Okay.
Maureen Doyle took my place.
There were a lot of other people too, I think.
Committee members I put down.
Oh, okay.
Discussion of funding projects that had been proposed, discuss breaking the proposed projects into separate categories. Municipal projects, nonprofit projects, and ones that may have alternative funding sources available. Tom will put together a spreadsheet on the projects for the next meeting on November 3rd at 3 o'clock, meeting adjourned approximately 4 o'clock.
So I'm not a committee member.
I think you are now, because you're taking the EDC spot.
Okay.
Yeah. You were at the other meeting, but not officially on at that time, I guess.
Thought I was, but
All right, I'll put you down.
So hi, I'm Ben Solomon. I'm not on the committee.
hi, Ben. I'm Ron Schaefer.
Ron Schaefer, good to meet you.
I'm Maureen Fitzpatrick from the library.
Hi, Maureen.
Sure.
Kyle, I'm with the highway department, the highway foreman.
I figured you were.
Yeah, we'll give it away this year.
Something like that.
Is there a motion to accept the minutes with the addition of Ron as present for the last meeting?
I make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I
Opposed? Same. On the discussion. So I don't know, like I said, you may not have a chance to look at all those FAQs, but they did give a lot of good information about the eligible uses, responding to public health emergency, negative economic impacts. Really should get this out to you. Supports vulnerable populations to access medical or public health services, public communication efforts, purchases of PPE, ventilation improvements in congregate settings. This is here's Tracy Martin coming to the meeting. And she came in at 3:03. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I hear you. And you can also assist households, small businesses, nonprofits, and aid to impacted industries. Also includes food assistance. And I mention these because they kind of align with what has been proposed by some various organizations. Aid provided to tourism, travel, and hospitality industries, as well as aid a planned expansion or upgrade of tourism, travel, and hospitality facilities delayed due to the pandemic. Investments in improving outdoor spaces like parks and recreational places. This is kind of an area we really have to get some clarification on. What I'd like to do is get a list of questions we can talk with the auditor about possibly on Monday morning. And run them past him, run them past our town attorney, and then at the next meeting have some definite answers. But Ben Pileski did put together a spreadsheet that's up here on the board. Sure no one's waiting in the. We really broke it down quite a bit to many different categories there. What it applies to, impact duration and core infrastructure. Are there future operational costs? I mean, it's a little bit much right now until we get this broken down. There's more to add to this too, if we find, people are applying for more. So first one was community hall HVAC, which is this, probably this room here has no air conditioning, no air filtration at all. Same over at the firehouse. Their meeting room has no AC or air filtration. There's bath and showers proposed down in the basement over there. I'm not sure if it would fit into ARPA funding. EOC ventilation, the Emergency Operations Center over at the firehouse, that again has no air filtration, no AC. With LVA's Litchfield Volunteer Ambulance, they had revenue loss due to the pandemic. Less people were making calls for ambulance and less getting transported to hospitals. MHS, Morris Historical Society, they're put together a proposal to get to us, more detail. A lot of work on the old Morris Town Hall. Morris Cemetery, Cliff Cooper brought in a proposal for paving. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to fit into ARPA guidelines. We'd like to see the whole roadway paved all the way around. And he did have some quotes on that. Greenwood's counseling services, we fund them already through our municipal budget. Obviously, maybe not obviously, but their services are much needed. Pandemic has really impacted people in many different ways. And they do their own counseling in-house, but they also do a lot of referrals out. Northwest Transit District did make a request for us due to lost revenue because of the pandemic. They were not running as much, collecting as much revenue because less people were taking the bus. And we do support them through our municipal budget. Recreational access, that was for the Morris recreational fields down to Town Beach. This is one perhaps we may be able to find alternative funding for, but it would allow better access to the fields, specifically the lower from the pavilion going up to the first level of fields. And then from the first level up to the upper lacrosse field, I call it. Town hall access, that would be for the system to unlock this door, for the library, and for the land use office, and add another station for Laurel to unlock the front door. We already have 2 locations for the front door. The town clerk and the tax collector are able to do it remotely. Affordable housing. There's definitely guidelines in here that would allow monies for affordable housing. How would we do it? I'm not sure yet.
If I could, Ben Solomon, as a member of that task force, I do remember that one of the things that's in that plan we just adopted was a fund, a revolving fund to provide down payment relief for first-time homeowners. So that was something that just came to mind.
Yeah.
If, get that plan implemented, that might be something to park a little bit of money in.
We did discuss that.
It is part of the plan. I just reviewed it before I came over.
The part of the bigger plan that was done.
Yeah, part of the affordable housing plan that the
Right.
selectmen adopted about 2 months ago, I
Yeah.
want to say, September, I think it was.
Yeah.
Month and a half ago.
Pretty recent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, we can go back to anything that you'd like to talk about here. Some ideas that got put out there were these mini cell antennas to perhaps provide not only cell service, but some sort of internet to areas in town that cannot receive it right now. Town Park Garden, talking about doing something, I guess, fairly special. This was not my idea. In the town park over there, like a sucking garden and all this to attract people to the town center. Stage at the beach. Again, for getting people, I guess, outdoor activities there. Engine 5 replacement. And I did talk to Bob Valentine and Goshen. They did set aside monies from ARPA for fire engine and ambulance replacement. And they did it because they said their fire department there is a nonprofit and they can give monies to nonprofits to help with their lost revenue.
I assume I think our new fire company is a nonprofit too, right? I think so, because I just gave them a little bit of money.
They have a 501c3.
Yeah, okay.
And that going back, before I get too far, the Morris Historical Society, they aren't currently a 501c3. They're attempting to regain that status. They should have that within the next year. Boat launch handicap access, allow handicap access, obviously at the boat launch, which would be a dock alongside the launch where people could easily get from the dock to their boats. Right now, there's nothing there. Message sign, and this is communication, which was covered in the frequently asked questions. Street, probably shared between James Morris School and the town. Both have access to change the message on the sign remotely. And it allowed greater communication for the residents of the town of Morris when we need to get something out there.
Is this something like, Tom, that they have at the Litchfield High School now, or, sort of an LED?
Yes,
Yeah, but we wanted a nicer one than that.
Oh, well, of course.
Someone
I think
threw
there
a
were
big log in that
drawings
one.
that had a really nice one.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been working with Laura Tano to come up with a concept. We've been working with James Morris Region 6 to get this idea together. And it all came down to funding. Where are we going to find the funding for it?
Mhm.
And yeah, any design would be approved by the town. I think we go to town meeting and say, is this what you want? Friends and neighbors, they put in a request for $20,000. They do services, food pantry over here. Plus, I think they also do some fuel assistance and everything else for residents of Morris. I'm not sure if that goes beyond Morris or not. Morris Public Library. I just got Maureen's thing and I'm looking at it and I kind of look at it, perhaps the way to go with the funding, and we can change this, is maybe the Friends of the Library could receive the funding as a nonprofit and then go ahead and turn it over to the library in whatever way they want to do it, as long as it meets the criteria.
Right.
And I think you were talking, well, maybe $15,000
About, yeah.
up that. And that would be lost revenue for the Friends because they could not do their auction and, social and all that they had for fundraising. And Family Protective, again, lost revenue, could go towards the lake. And I believe Goshen did this also for two of their water bodies up there. Tyler Lake and West Side Pond, I think it is. And Morris Land Trust. I just threw that one in there when Ben walked in, so kind of a reminder. So there's a whole bunch of ideas, but I think we're gonna have to kind of narrow it down to a certain few that, reaches the $667,000+ that's available.
What does that add up to?
Can we put, know how to do that?
Yeah.
Tom, I had submitted two ideas.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I forgot the charging station. I didn't quite get that one on here because I'm still checking with DEP. They have that Volkswagen settlement money. And part of that settlement money is specifically for vehicle charging stations.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get that grant. I reached out to them again to see when it was open for applications. And that would be a nice way to fund that.
Okay.
But if not, throw it on here too.
I thought,
Equals some.
I thought that was
Type it in.
for
You'll never find it.
vehicles, for the charging stations, but that's in there, charging stations. I thought it was
Change that
vehicle.
all the
like
time.
getting
It's always
diesel
better
vehicles.
just to go back.
No, actually, there's charging. That was one round. There's a couple of different rounds they're doing. One was for municipal vehicles. And there's another one for municipal charging.
Equals some.
Yeah.
And then the other one was the
Get him out of this room.
Morris Food Grant.
Because you're doing it with an audience.
Yeah, that proposal. That
Go
was
from
really
the top
interesting.
all the way to
I
the
think
bottom,
that'd
so
be
that way,
a good way to do it.
yeah, you're not,
What is that proposal?
Let's get it on.
We'll get down to one conversation.
Okay.
Get it to roll.
Left town doing
There
this.
you go.
Tracy's fingers. are
just
like
hit the
twitchy.
top, I know, just hit the top,
There it
hold the shift key, there you go.
And how much money we getting?
That's painful.
667, I guess, and change.
What's up there now? 8?
We have half of that right now, right?
I can't see that far, so even look.
No, it's
What is it?
tough to
8
see.
something up there?
845.
45?
So right now, we're $178,000 over.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
We'll just write that.
Well, what?
I mean-
We have to add Ron's 2 new ones.
Yeah.
We have
Please,
2
thanks.
more to add here.
Yes. And Ron had a couple good ideas I think he could share with the entire group here.
Well, the first one, well, the food grant, Morris food grant, basically, I guess that could tie in with friends and neighbors, which I don't know anything about. Want me to tell the whole idea or, I mean,
Yeah, well, summary, but.
summary, yeah. Morris Fresh Food Grant, basically, the town with this money buys 6 community-supported agricultural food shares, like from over here, there's the local Hungry Reaper Farm.
They operate out of Windian, right?
They're across from Windian, yeah. It's not expensive. Total cost approximately $3,600 for 6 weekly food shares that the needy that apply for it would pick up once a week and have fresh vegetables. That's it in a nutshell. Supports the needy and then it also, and they, I asked here at the food bank how many people they get weekly. It's 4 or 5 or 6 families a week, so of course this could be upped or lowered, but I guess they would meet certain criteria and you pick up from, I guess it's June through October, 18 weeks of fresh vegetables for a family. It's $600 a share that we would cover. So it's, instead of eating canned goods, it's fresh vegetables. We support a local farm as well. And so on. Anyway, that's the small idea. The other big idea was electric charging stations placed strategically. I think this is the best spot for travelers to use, to mark, hey, wow, I'm going somewhere. I can use the charging station at Morris. While I charge, I can go to the store here, or if I have a meeting here at town or at the firehouse and so on. But it's also an infrastructure thing. Like if more people get electric vehicles and your electricity is out in one part of town, maybe it's on here and you could come and charge. It's not, you could make it, also the town could have access to how much they charge at certain times of day. Like let's say you had 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, you could make it $1 a kilowatt or whatever,
Right.
and then at night and weekends, bump it up to $3 or whatever. So that people working in town school teachers or town people would be sent, help them get into trying electric vehicles. So it's infrastructure and also just embracing that technology and tourism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I was saying earlier, I'll keep looking at the DEP grant for vehicle charging stations.
And the price, and then the state has a lot of incentives, even with a grant, it's affordable.
Yeah, they really push for the electric these days,
I did check around with other towns on how they do it. There's some towns that said they put one in and no one ever uses it. There's other towns that say, yeah, it does work, it gets used, but we pay the cost of the electricity. And there's other ones that have a metering system on it and a credit card system on it where the user pays for the cost of electricity. There's a lot of different ways you can do it.
And I mean, to attract real tourism, it would have to be the DC one, which you could charge your car in an hour from 0 to, so you would attract someone going from Philadelphia to Boston or whatever, they go, oh, hey. But, you leave it, the regular chargers, it's gonna, in an hour, you're only gonna get 20, 30 miles extra. So that's kind of, it's either more of a local thing or if you want to go for
You want a quick charge, I would imagine.
What's that?
You want a quick charge.
DC charge, yeah, which is more money, but,
Did you have a number on that?
I mean, I'm just kind of winging it on the internet, but,
That's all. Where would it go? Backside of the parking lot?
Probably out here, or, electrical's here, and you could go it out on the other side of the reading room.
yeah, that'd be perfect in my opinion. But, and then also I made it, you'd have a walking map there where people could walk, and find out where to go, because, you don't want to be just sitting there. You could go to Poppy's or to the Dollar General.
That new historical society
The
building.
new historical society.
Pond in the
Yeah.
park.
Fishing in the park.
Go cool off in the firehouse once you put the AC in.
Yeah, next to the new fire. And
I mean,
The biodome across the street.
the level 2, which is the, moderate charging speed, is probably under 10,000 for each, one pedestal with 2 outlets. And then the DC one, which they call it supercharge or fast charge, is probably $50,000.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I didn't think they were that cheap.
What does it cost to put a meter on that? Because
Well, that's
I
included.
was just putting on the Board of Finance for 6 years and that electric bill is gonna be monitored.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's the thing, these, the companies that install it have all that included in the box, and you go up as an EV person, you either have an account or you just type in and call, or you use your credit card and you pay for the electricity. So the town would just pay for maintenance. But yeah, it's a big dip. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I think with a grant, or maybe the state's gonna even do more, make it even cheaper.
Yeah, well, more, as we know more about the grant opportunity, then either like take this right off the chart here. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Be nice to get it a different way. The Morris Food Grant, was that 6,000 a year?
36.
3,600
36
For a year.
for six shares.
So you could be,
Would you want to do multiple years, though?
Well, I mean, it says in here, I mean, I just had any balance would go, yeah, if people don't take it, any balance would go back. Consideration could be made for a Morris Fresh Food Grant for 2023 and beyond. And
you can go up to, I think 2026.
yeah,
To spend this.
Yeah, but then it dries out, then it has to go in your budget if you're gonna keep feeding people or telling them to stop being fed.
There was a little
Or maybe
idea
a
that came
local.
up
People come.
a number of years ago, kind of got me into this whole mix, but and it was down at Camp Columbia, I was talking about putting in a community garden, and people were responsive to it. It was getting the labor to do it, to start it, because that area that was spec'd out needs to be like really, somebody has to do a lot of work to get it to the garden point. But a community garden type thing, if the maintenance is, or if the cost is just getting that land prepared and then going from there. And that doesn't really have a big, it
Yeah, I think DEP actually approved that.
was approved, it was ready to go. It
Never
just,
went anywhere after that.
life got weird.
Yeah.
So then what would you do? Rent a plot after the garden was in, or how would?
It was Conservation Commission, which has, I mean, there isn't one right now, for lack of volunteers. But I think it was just a couple things that we went at. One was just a community garden, or maybe the town pays for the, seeds or whatever, and then people use it as they want, or renting plot space. The thing is, you start renting plot space, somebody's got to implement that program.
Right.
Somebody's got to then watchdog it, and then you kind of get into trouble if somebody takes somebody's tomatoes and somebody takes somebody's cucumbers. Police it. So trying not to put extra expenses into it. If you could get a small group of people that, maybe the town could pay for seeds in the spring, get some volunteers if you had the interest. And then just sort of let it go from there. That's what I think we ended up trying to do, but there was 3 of us and it was, well, different times as we shall say.
there was something that was mentioned last time about playground at at the
Town beach.
beach.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, that seems like a great idea. Would attract people, get more people outside, you know, it's any improvement we can do to a recreational facility is a good idea, I think.
Did we ever think about putting a dock? A floating dock off the town beach?
Oh, we haven't, just because we haven't had a swim area there yet. And we have that committee that's gonna look at municipal docks for boat slips down there.
Right.
So we have to figure that out, if that's actually gonna happen. And then we'd have to work that in with a plan for a swim area adjacent to it too.
Well, that's sort of one of the things that I always kind of questioned is that I know it's shallow, you've got boats, and there's no defined swim area.
Yeah.
We don't have a lifeguard, so I don't know how much do we get into trouble, but a rope area and then a dock within that rope area, a defined swim area with a rope,
When you say a dock, you mean for swimming dock or boat dock?
swimming dock. We get boats, we got way less boats. I mean, I know we're doing the boat dock, but that wasn't something that came up. Always when we talk about the boat launch and the docks, it's like, oh my God, the swimmers. So they're working on a defined swim area. And if we roped it off and then had like Sandy Beach as a dock you can swim out to, it attracts people to the beach.
Or a jetty?
Or just something. I mean, rope.
I think the highway department also had ideas of, some of these ideas we have up here, work can be done in-house and make our money go further than what's there. So if the highway crew can do a bit of the work, then it makes sense.
Right.
You can
Yeah.
spread that money out even further.
Yeah, we talked about doing a walking path, but we're just not equipped with the right machinery to get stuff like this done. And part of what I was looking to maybe talk about is getting some sort of funding for a mini excavator that we can do a lot of this work in-house with and, make stormwater improvements, and just the opportunities would be endless for us to keep some of the work in-house versus contracting it out. And I think it saves the town a lot of money while doing that.
What's the price of a mini excavator?
Well, it's under 100,000.
How about an electric one?
Yeah, you could come up here and charge it.
Charge it down by the beach.
Yeah.
If I'm going to sit for an hour, or otherwise.
There was something else, I don't know if you said it, Tom, was, water drainage
Yeah,
mentioned last time. What was that?
yeah, it's on
Well, it's
on
investment.
Isaiah Smith. Yeah, it's an investment in our waterways and our
That's
infrastructure.
part of this investment in water and
What
sewer.
was that?
Right.
Is that on there?
That's not on there, no, but
No, yeah, Isaiah Smith,
yeah, Isaiah Smith.
because that would be protecting the watershed, heading down to the reservoir for Waterbury.
And what's the issue there? Is there
Waterbury.
runoff or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
So should it be on there or not?
probably should be. We have, we're gonna get up to a very large list, then we got a part of that thing right down too.
And some of that probably could,
well, that's the thing with
You get money.
excavator is we can make those improvements with that machine. So it would fall under that category as well.
we'll put that excavator in there.
I mean, I got pricing already. I got 3 quotes for it. So,
Excavator?
yeah,
What's the best quote?
it was through Volvo, actually. It's like a 14,000 pound machine. We can pull, we can move it ourselves. It was around 78,000. That's with a flail mower on it too. So if we can maintain our outlets with it. Sometimes we got a pipe that's outletting 20 feet off the road that we can't get out to clean. We'd be able to maintain that with the proper machine.
Well, if you guys are putting together, could you put together a list based some on that and whatever else of what you would use it
Oh,
for?
yeah, I mean, I already kind of did that, but that's the first one on the list. That was just some ideas I came up with. But the top one was a mini excavator.
Would you be able to reduce your budget each year?
Absolutely, yeah,
So if you could show us that.
yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, which hat are we wearing right now?
If you do it in-house,
Well, if you do it in-house, I mean, that's like, we made decisions based on that before using highway.
Right.
And if it offsets the cost.
I mean, if you look at what we've spent in contracting stuff out over the last 5 years, we could have bought 10 excavators, you know.
We did a lot of, well,
That's-
they did a lot of drainage work, like East Shore Road just recently.
Yeah.
That was
Smoky Hollow
working
Road.
with a contractor, doing the work with 3 guys on the job
Mhm.
from the highway crew.
Yeah.
And then the contractor. So you're paying the contractor with his machine there. And the hope is to have our guys do the actual digging with their own machine and save the money. So that would,
Right.
like the drainage improvements, Isaiah Smith, any land clearing and everything, stuff like that.
Mhm.
The work at the beach.
Right, we're working at the transfer station now because we're supposed to maintain the landfill. We had to rent a machine, so we're renting a machine right now to clear the hill there. That's supposed to be done annually. So
So there's,
there's a lot of uses for it.
I mean, it could also be an argument for a capital non-recurring expenditure too.
Like the fire.
That's why I was wondering what
Yeah,
goes against this list versus
Right.
the
a
fire-
capital list, like
Yeah.
where to put it. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah. It's where there's alternative funding available.
Right, but if you're going off of this list, if they can do 5 projects with an excavator and also take 5 things that cost highway more
Right,
and put those together,
it's like the
then you're win-win.
playground at the school. We rented an excavator to prep that area to have that installed. So
Right.
instead of contracting somebody out to come in to prep the area, we could do that ourselves with a machine. So,
Yeah, some of the money from ARPA could be used towards the purchase of an excavator and maybe some CNR or fund balance monies,
Right,
stretching your dollars.
Right.
yeah. What's I mean?
This is only, this is, I imagine this is gonna be a one-time thing that we're gonna get here.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
right.
Given what it took to get the money.
So I don't know which way you want to go. We have a lot of stuff on the board.
I'm not opposed to the cemetery being repaved.
I
I was up there recently.
gotta justify it somehow.
Well, yeah, I mean,
You're gonna be hauling cars out of there. That going up there,
Oh, it's bad.
the rut in the road, everybody bottomed out on it and it's like, you're gonna hang up cars. It's bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is.
I know. It's just,
I mean, is it tourism?
depends what you're into, I guess.
It's not a recreational facility, that's for sure.
Depends.
It depends
So
what
is
you're
this-
into. I grew up here. It depends what you're into.
is the cemetery owned by the town? Who owns the
I have no
cemetery?
idea.
More Cemetery Association.
Yeah,
Okay.
where are
They are pretty much Cliff Wheeler.
Yeah.
they? They're pretty much what?
Cliff?
Cliff Wheeler. I have.
The one man show.
One man show.
Do they have a
mean,
budget that's
it's
funded from the
nice.
town? Or,
No,
so the town doesn't give them any money now?
not.
It might not be bad to invest in them a little bit. You know, they're self-sufficient now,
They're barely surviving now.
right?
Is it a, God bless them. Well, it goes back to highway though. It goes back to the excavator. It's one of those things that it may not be on this list because that's not where it should be, but it should go to highway. And if they need, how do you put those projects together? Probably, I don't know. I can't justify it. I just know the road's real bad.
There's only so much the town can do. It's a private property, private organization. Help out the most we can. Personally, I think it'd be nice if we're gonna off track here, but perhaps the town takes over the cemetery. And
Then we
operates
can
it,
maintain the road.
get a
We can
business.
maintain the road.
Yep.
Yeah,
Get it operate properly again.
it's,
Yeah, because I know there's several trees in there that are very
Oh, yeah, it's pretty bad.
unhealthy.
Everything's
And if it
falling
was
apart.
town owned, then we would sort of take on the responsibility of maintaining the trees in there too.
I didn't know we had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I know we don't fund anything, but
We don't, any of the 3 cemeteries, we don't do anything.
really,
So I could send this out as the Excel spreadsheet to everybody. And maybe if you don't have this, I can resend it. It's pretty informative.
That would be-
Could
yeah, could-
Lot of
I
extra
came
stuff
late
in there.
because
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't find it on the CCM website.
All right. Yeah, I'll get this out.
Yeah.
Because Because then we really have to start looking at this stuff. And if
What's the
there's,
deadline for, what are our deadlines on doing this?
it's not a huge hurry, but I'd like to see if we could get this done early this coming year.
Okay, I just want to make sure we weren't running up against some federally mandated
No.
deadline. If you don't
I think you
spend it
have
by X, you lose it.
under contract sometime in 2024 and spent by 2026.
Yeah.
But there are items here that if we got them approved, they could be spent right now.
Yeah.
We have the money, half the money.
Can I ask another dumb question? You referenced that sort of by way of example, what Goshen was doing.
Mhm.
Once you, what's the process for, and we all read what happened in West Haven. What's the process, if there is any, for spending? Do you have to get approval on a project by project basis, or does the feds just turn over the money to the town? It's up to the town to figure it out.
They've turned it over to the towns and they give you the final rule from the treasury, which is pretty vague, at least for what I think.
And then once you have proposals, you have to get their okay. You just go ahead and do it in good faith and hope no one audits you, or what?
Oh, they audit
That's
you.
why we were gonna
They
have.
do audit you. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, I think it's gonna be part of the state audit.
So the state's gonna audit it.
Probably, yeah. I mean, we have to fill in, we have to fill out a spreadsheet with the state where the money's at, and then obviously have the backup to back up what we did.
And this is so new, no town that we know of has actually done it and been audited yet, right?
Oh, no, not on this, but on everything else. Just, it's like any kind of grant, or you're gonna be held liable to be able to tell them what you did with it and
Yeah.
to explain,
Okay.
hopefully.
Is it like a town name,
Yeah,
the road?
yeah, they'll,
Yeah.
if they ever ask
Donate
questions, you gotta be able to back it up. Exactly.
I do expect there will be a state.
Last week, last time we met.
Usually.
I wasn't here the
You
last.
should ask
No, as long as you're using it correctly.
Tom.
That's what he
Yeah.
said he was gonna send around.
Are you able to send this out?
The toolkit one and
Yeah.
That's a,
This has your answers to the questions
Okay.
you're
yeah,
saying.
this-
As far as who's watching the till and all that stuff,
Yeah.
yeah. We talked about it a little bit last meeting.
Okay.
Also,
I know.
Erica mentioned, Tom, like 2 or 3 people to sort of manage or watch over projects or something like that.
A lot of the stuff, either we're gonna grant it to a nonprofit, or we have to find out what they're gonna do with the money.
Sure.
And they have to let us know. The rest of it are kind of projects that would fall just under the town anyways. So that's what we do as like highway projects or other town projects. We kind of manage that. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else in here. I mean, if there is a grant to the Morris Land Trust, you're a nonprofit, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah. I'm just saying, we do have a meeting next week and I'll mention it, but I don't think we have a burning need for
Like a,
there's people who should be way ahead of us. Because we don't spend a lot of money, and so we're in fairly decent shape. Don't tell any of our supporters that we still need their money, but
but you can use these monies for admin costs. If you do decide to, say Laurel's in charge of managing a whole bunch of this stuff and it's taken up a lot of her time, you could use monies to help pay for that time to manage it.
and for the nonprofits, let's say you give money to BLPA, just by example, is there like in that toolkit, is there like a standard set of forms they're supposed to give to you guys or whoever, Laurel or?
I haven't seen it. No, I think you have.
That might be something this committee might want to think about. So
Application and.
when the audit comes, we're not just scrambling around saying, well, we gave the BLPA. I don't mean to pick on them.
well, I mean, everything,
Yeah.
all money.
You have your ducks in a row.
Yeah, but all monies that get distributed will be done through a check, a town check that we'll have copies of, and then we would see that they actually cashed it. So it's,
Wouldn't you want a little report for what they actually did with it? That's-
Oh,
yeah, no.
We need to follow up with it.
Yeah. Well, if you already have places, I mean, I'm not trying to teach you how to do your job, obviously, but I'm just thinking if there's a state audit of a new program,
Yeah,
I'll make sure there's the
about the answers.
right bureaucratic trail to satisfy.
Open the drawer and show it to them.
Actually, that's a good question for the auditor. What would they really have to? If they, like say the library said they need the money for lost revenues and we say we grant and it falls underneath this packet, I don't know if we would have to figure out, once we give them the money in good faith, they have to answer to that versus we have to answer to that.
Ultimately, it comes down to us.
I would think so, but I'm not sure.
So I would think,
Why wouldn't we just spend it then?
That's my understanding, but
Why
we're
would we-
responsible for where that money ends up, whether we get it
Correct.
from a nonprofit or we spend it some way.
well, as far as the departments, like the library, would there be a certain, I think you guys would have to come up with, this is what we're doing with it. Is it whatever that be?
Meet the criteria.
Right.
Right, does it meet the criteria? So the overall question is the monies for the betterment of the town and the people in town. So whatever we go forward and spend, seems to be the key question.
Right. Before you get the money, you should be able to answer that.
Right,
If you can't answer yes, then
so,
you don't get the money.
I mean, the lost revenue, I'm not sold on. And there might be good arguments, but just looking at the list, like, what betters the town, what betters the town's people?
It's not one of the biggest hooks under the ARPA is lost
Lost
revenue.
revenue.
That's why that's there so much, isn't it?
So much freaking lost revenue, I don't know.
How did,
It's can
But
disagree.
they group us all, they group us up with every single, you know, what I mean, it might not pertain as much to this town as it does to like New Haven or Hartford or, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's hard when you look at lost revenues and stuff like.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like for us, we came through this pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody comes in and said we have to prove lost revenue, it's,
Actually,
real lost revenue is gonna be
prove that.
tough to prove here,
well,
you
how
know?
many are asking for lost revenue? Just one or two organizations? Is that the?
Litchfield ambulance, right?
Litchfield ambulance.
Yeah, and
Ambulance,
yeah, us.
BLPA, I think you said.
I don't know if they've gotten that really approved.
I mean, can they just show like 2018 and 19 tax returns and what they made in 2021 or 2022 or something?
Yeah, I mean, they can show it what their lost revenue is. They definitely had a drop in revenue. The town could actually use all the money for lost revenue for the town. Rick ran the numbers through the treasury's calculator and that comes up.
They don't want the money back. Well, they don't, because they were looking at it, again, exactly what Tom said. They said your spend should have went up 4%. Ours actually went down, but they don't actually tell you. I mean, they don't show you any other way. We could just take it all and just add it to fund balance, really, but that's not really a smart thing to do with it.
I think we're trying to.
Then you're gonna spend it and you're back here anyways.
Yeah.
Then you
Well, yeah,
have to
that's-
still justify it if they audit us.
But even like back to what you guys were saying, the difference between this and anything else is anyone who usually gets money from the state through a grant has to explain the grant. The same thing's gonna be, to your point, like this, instead of the grant come from the state, it's gonna come from your town and you're gonna have to explain what you did it to the town.
Right.
So we can explain it for, just like, because Perfect One's Elena got a grant. She has to explain how she used it for, you know, boards and
Yeah.
stuff to protect the field.
And there could be a difference between saying the justification for doing under ARP or whatever it's called is lost revenue versus what are you going to use it for? And I would think the committee might look more favorably on something like what the highway department's talking about, something that's going to provide value to the town year after year.
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm
As opposed
thinking
to
of.
one
I
time.
mean,
Just saying it's lost revenue doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to provide
Right.
value to the town for multiple years, which I think that may be what this committee. So there's a difference between the justification and the proposed use, I would think, to your point.
I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of knowing what the budget was, and knowing that when you say lost revenue, it kind of takes hardship. I mean, I understand what they're trying to do. I'm just saying as far as us moving forward.
I think it's kind of a way out to spend some of this money by the treasury. I think, you know, because their initial guidelines were infrastructure, including sewer, water and broadband, which is another thing that could go up there is a
Insane.
$35,000 study for fiber optic broadband in town of Morris, if we decide to go that direction. So their initial guidelines are really strict, but then they start to kind of loosen them up and start to say tourism, recreation, monies to nonprofits and things like that, because they want the money, like Rick said, to spend.
Mhm.
They want it out there in the community.
We can spend it.
Goshen decided to keep some of the money to cover their lost revenue. I don't think the town of Morris should do that. We're in really good fiscal.
That's what I'm saying.
condition.
Yeah,
We're strong and we went in strong,
And
so.
it should be shown in the community that it got spent properly.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna be, like you said, hopefully a one-shot deal. So it's a shot to make some real improvements.
But just
and
to your point,
focusing
Tracy,
on
just to your
that.
point, Tracy, if the hook for BLPA is lost revenue because they couldn't do a fundraiser, that should be okay with you all. If their proposal to use the money is not just to put it in their bank account, but to do a multi-year improvement of some condition on the lake that impacts the economic health of the town.
Oh, you picked such a
think
hot
you
one
just-
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think also too, we fund like BLPA, we fund them.
Mhm.
And they do, and yes, loss of revenue from fundraisers is good. Maybe that's what I wasn't thinking of it.
Water quality too.
But just kind of knowing the money around here. Wouldn't it be better if BLPA could come back and say, we did thus and so over and above? Than just making up for, and the same with the library. This is, to me, it's just and I'm looking at it from a PR standpoint, it's a one-shot chance to better. You know. Because if you know the numbers, you know that we made it through the pandemic we're not
Right.
trying to
Everybody.
offset the losses. This is like our one big shot to shine and do something great. You know, that's just what
I
I'm,
mean, also, if you can give everybody the same opportunity, if you don't have broadband or something in this town, or you have dead spots in this town, I mean, I think that's really what this money was made for, especially how spread out this town is. You know,
Yeah.
does everyone have the same right, same stuff available to them that everyone else has?
oh, I think the
That's what this
broadband
is for.
should be right up there. Yeah,
I'm saying, I think that's what this money was supposed to be used for,
Yeah.
because if schools get closed again and everyone's back in their house,
Need to have internet.
you have to have internet accessible to everyone.
What's that gonna cost? That's the thing is.
But I mean, yeah,
Millions.
no, that's what the guy was saying. It's just $35,000 just
For the
to tell us to start, right?
It's a study.
And then once the
Yeah.
study comes back.
You need that study
Millions.
in order to move forward. You
Correct.
can't move forward without the study. So do you want to fund the study out of
Can,
CNR, or do you want to fund the study out of some monies that are available for that specific purpose?
can we put the study on there for now?
Which one?
The broadband study for. the-
I thought you meant like if I had a copy of it.
Yeah.
Broadband?
And I mean, 90% to 100% of this is gonna be hard stuff that we can see, not just go to somebody's pocket for lost revenue. That's, as far as asking for money with lost revenue, they should show what hard material thing they're gonna invest it in, so I.
yeah, thank you.
I was on a
That's
Zoom
what I was trying to say. These,
probably a week or so ago, and I think Tim Maxwell from Northwest Connect, they pretty much said a study generally would run $35,000. Probably for a town the size of Morris. Morris is actually less expensive to wire than a lot of the other towns. We have less roads. Our houses tend to be grouped a little better, so it'd be less expensive to string fiber throughout our town. So the study would help tell that. And I think, like I said, you need the study in order to move that project forward if we decide to go in that direction. That's you're taking the first step. You gotta make sure you want to take the rest of the steps, hopefully too.
What other direction is there?
Well, there's satellite internet. Someone actually has said they use it and they love it.
Yeah,
I used it twice, gave it 2 shots.
Yeah.
Canceled it
Did you?
twice, yeah.
I lived on satellite up in upstate New York and
Frontier is gonna be wiring fiber optic. Cablevision, Morris is one of the towns that will be wired fiber optic,
Like,
one of 9 towns.
when are they talking about that?
That's a good question.
Oh.
And what's the cost?
Yeah,
Because when you still have one utility with no competition,
oh,
hopefully Frontier will provide competition.
yeah, it's Frontier though.
You're stuck.
right.
That's
Yeah.
why this whole idea of doing the northwest corner has kind of been on hold a little bit because all these new things are coming up so
Right.
quickly. But we can put it on there as a little placeholder for now and,
You want to
There's
add
something-
that amount? Because that'll change the sum.
yeah.
35,000, you said?
Oh, is that some working out correctly? I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. We're going in the right
Good job,
direction.
Rick.
Adding, not subtracting.
We can't leave here till we get over 1 million.
Well, I think,
Keep going. Alrighty then.
$10,000 you want to waste?
So all ththese have numbers that people submitted, is that right?
Not all.
That's a wish list. For
Playground.
the Santa
Yeah, no,
Claus.
no, I'm saying, because the last meeting, it was, when somebody submits a proposal, they need to submit it with a number so that it's valid or.
We get numbers.
So with the Historical Society, what were they looking to do? Improvements on the,
HVAC. Exterior carpentry and painting improvements. New service, new electrical service.
Is there a building in the back or just the two?
The old schoolhouse, the middle schoolhouse, and that's our old town hall.
Yeah.
Which then became a firehouse and then became the historical society.
Oh, what's the selling tennis guess? The 65,000.
We have to get Ben,
that was Ben.
Other Ben here to
oh,
explain
yeah,
that.
the mini cell?
Oh, the mini cell towers.
I mean, really, if you look at it, if you look at engine number 5, that's $200,000. Do you guys want to pay for it as a town or do you want to use the ARPA?
Paying for, I mean,
No, I'm just saying, so you already have it on your CNR list for the next 5 years through the town budget. So if you took that off, again, your parking garden's 85,000. You'd almost be right down to the amount of money, if you took that to, do you want a parking garden? You know what I mean, for 85,000? You'd almost eliminate all your debt off.
Beach at the beach.
I didn't,
You gotta put-
yeah, I don't know if you even have to take that one off, but I mean, that is.
yeah, I mean, almost stage at the beach sounds better, but
So, yeah, I mean, if you put stage at the beach for tourism and other stuff, I'm not saying you want it, but I'm just saying it's not that hard to
Yeah.
get to the number.
No, I understand. I agree.
right, it depends on if you want to put it in
I think-
CNR.
So what happens, like, when do we get to the moment of truth of like,
Just keep,
I would say, I would recommend you guys rank it.
we beat it up and then come back at it, right?
You do a separate poll of all you guys who are involved with it. I don't know if I count as that because I don't live here, but if you guys ranked, if you put all the ones you want there and you rank them 1 to 20, then what you do is you add all the numbers up.
Mhm.
And the one with the highest number loses. The one with the smallest number wins. And then those are the top till you run out of money.
Do we want to reach out to the community and see if there are more ideas?
At your own peril.
I mean,
It's up to you.
we could get to a point where we could do a little,
You have a meeting. We could do public
Hey.
hearings on it, sure.
other towns have done that, like a Saturday
I
morning.
don't think that's bad to do a public hearing on it.
yeah, I think after we
Yeah.
narrow it down.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the number is looking close to what we have, so that if it goes up or down, it's reasonable, it's realistic.
Well, that's why I'm thinking of justification, because being on the Board of Finance, if I can't justify that, so what
That's kind of changed.
appeals.
I mean, I would.
Kristen's on it.
Because it does work very easy if you just do.
Well, it's the board of selection.
Different things make different people happy.
Kyle, you, Kristen, Ben. A member from the library.
Mhm.
Dave, well, actually, it's.
It's me now, by default.
And Ron, and right, you are on the list, I forgot, sorry. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10.
Yeah, so again, I mean, it's as simple as it is, if you just rank them. How many projects you guys would say should be listed and you just do 1 through 24, then you add them all up across, everyone has their separate vote.
So if we send this out,
Yeah, everything would have to have a number of a dollar value.
and then you could just
Right.
manipulate it the way you want.
Oh, no, they just have to put just a little column. Tracy would just put hers 1 through 25, and
Right.
Kyle put 1 through 25.
So
Who gets to call?
you had them in categories like nonprofit or municipal. What were the other sections that Ben put in there? I mean, I think there should only be 3 or 4, but.
Yeah, I think there's a lot here. Sure, implementer,
Implementation.
implementation pathway, other funding options, matching funds, benefits, general public. Are they publicly visible? Like you're saying, you're trying to do something,
Mhm.
you should be able to see it, hopefully.
I-
Scale beneficiaries, impact duration. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
poor infrastructure.
Those are all good questions.
I mean, it's good to have.
You guys were talking about.
Just
Yeah.
think about it.
Get it all out there. And
I was thinking, well, then there'd be nonprofit, but then also something should be for well, really the needier, the economic impact, helping people that are economically impacted by COVID.
Yep. More so than anyone else.
Yeah,
Right.
we don't have many, but
Right.
the-
We do have
yeah,
a fair, that kind of falls into the friends and neighbors and
Yeah.
things like that too.
yeah.
Yeah,
Friends and neighbors, the food bank.
Because even after we do, let's say we had all
we
the,
don't fund the food bank.
after we had all the members kind of do our vote and we get like the top 12 things. Then from there, it should be like, well, make sure we're ticking the several categories kind of evenly, touching the bases as far as
Get taxes.
spreading it out, and then hear from the public.
Yep.
And narrow it down and start sending out some money.
I think you're right. You don't want to bring this whole list to the public. Get it narrowed down to what we feel is most
Top 10
beneficial.
things, yeah.
And then have people look at it and talk, and voice their opinions.
Would that be at a town meeting or would that be?
It'd be like a informational,
Public hearing,
Hearing.
call it. Public hearing.
Forum.
a little forum,
Coffee talk
coffee talk on a Saturday morning.
at the,
Rick will be here.
If you talk with Tom.
Friday.
But, all right, so I'll send this out. And if you hear of any other ideas,
Did everyone who was at the meeting last month or whenever it was, submit something?
Well, I did,
Kristen wasn't here, but
You did.
that Kristen has.
Okay.
I did it, right. So
Yeah.
Oh,
it just-
okay,
I
yeah,
just pushed again to get them from there.
yeah.
I was overlooking one. I think I got it, friends and neighbors. All Ben's ideas.
Like, did the
Historical.
highway department have more than just the excavator? Were there other things?
oh, yeah, I mean, yeah. I thought one could be, let me see, I made a list here. Somewhere.
Because I mean, if we don't have a complete list and then people come afterwards and say, well, I wanted this.
Yeah, I mean, I could pass this around. This is just a few of the,
I don't think we're gonna have a complete list for another 3 months because people will jump on. I think it's gonna get bigger before it gets smaller.
Well, this is the other idea is I mean, we get the second half next year. So it's like, I guess we're gonna have it filled up anyways, the money. I'm thinking, get something started with some of the money, but then,
Yeah, you don't want to run into deadlines. either.
yeah.
yeah.
Or
Well,
like,
some other places have done, checks for, the essential employees that worked through the pandemic. I've seen talk about that. People that kept the departments and offices running the whole time. That's a category can be spent.
Oh, we did just have one, so we're safe.
All right. So I'll send this out to you and get the other information out to you. It would be helpful if I printed off some of this material. Or is it easy enough for electronic?
Do you want us to fill in where we can answer those questions or?
Or just rank it?
well,
I think you and I could work on this more, because what we do is put a description next to the title name. So everyone understands what's really, it's being used for, because if I just see Greenswoods,
That doesn't
Right.
tell you
Well,
anything.
maybe that's it with lost revenue, because I know I talked to Elaine and she had a lot of ideas. We're throwing it under lost revenue, but I think if
Well,
you're gonna bring it to the public, you're gonna need more than just,
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I think the
Trying to
more
fall into
transparent we are,
criteria.
yeah.
because if I'm voting on you and I'm looking, I want to at least know what I'm voting against you for, because I already know what what I mean? I know what I would want. So,
We just had an election, so they.
yeah,
Well-
no, I know what I'm saying, but so everyone understands in this group.
Right.
But
Like,
you're right,
what's a
though.
mini excavator? What
And
can
also
you
we
use
could,
that?
we can also group it by, this group is lost revenue, this group is, making more better, like you were saying, putting a walkway around or something. or a beach stage, people could choose, do we need all of them or do we want, what I'm saying? We could group it differently that when we look at it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the
Cleaner.
PR factor and lost revenue, just for me, my gut reaction is just, it's a no-go. But if you say, well, this is like you said, Greenwoods. Well, they just want, we already give them. What,
Well, I think the justification there would be the increased need for the services.
So
Correct, then we could.
right, but you want to say that, because if you just say another $10,000 for a charity, they'll hang you.
Again.
Right.
maybe.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So
maybe this shouldn't say lost revenue on it anywhere.
Unless it's just me.
And
but
just say,
it's-
and just say what
turn off
it
to
is, the proposal by the.
Yeah.
Well, you need,
the nonprofit or.
kind of need to show how it fits the criteria set forth by the
Separate- you
treasurer.
Have a separate little thing that says criteria.
Yeah.
You have lost for the lost revenue, but then purpose would be the descriptor.
Because you don't want to keep moving
Right.
forward with a project that does not meet the criteria.
Correct, yeah.
So,
No, you're right.
Absolutely. So you have lost revenue, infrastructure, whatever the criteria is, but then what is the proposal? The proposal is to make the town better by improving mental health services.
If we could spend a couple of minutes,
It's whatever, I'm just making that up.
if we spend a couple of minutes, just tell them what they're for. I'll put the descriptions.
What's today?
Today's Wednesday, I'm here
I only make the lost revenue.
all day. I do have to go, where's my bank day? Don't
No,
miss
but so, to get this.
But then what's your
public to
proposal?
get-
What's, we need a next meeting, yeah, date.
Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays would be better. Mondays and Wednesdays really suck.
So I think Thursdays are good.
Yeah.
I
'cause
don't
you're
like
working
Tuesdays
here
or
anyway.
Fridays.
Thursday's better for me.
Thursday's a wonderful day.
Yeah,
You want to try, well, that's Thanksgiving, 25th.
That would be bad.
Do we want to wait
18th
until,
too
you want to do the 18th or is that too, yeah?
I think we should do it
18th.
soon, yeah,
Over
18th?
2 weeks, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
because then
I can do the 18th.
What time?
I think. this
Whenever
is
you want.
Two was better than three for me, but I don't know.
That doesn't matter. I'm
So, why did we move to 3?
no idea.
Erica mentioned it.
Oh, we'll try for 2 for the next one, see how it goes.
2 on the 18th?
November 18th, 2:00.
Do we need to bring anything specific to that next meeting?
Hammer.
I can bring the quotes to that.
Yeah, some
excavator.
details, maybe get a package going of proposed projects and what the actual costs are closer. I mean, some of these numbers just thrown up there for a number.
Right.
well, that's the thing. When I walked in here, I had the sheet with how many users we provided services for, how many things we needed, how much each individual cost, how much it would cost for a year, for 3 years if we, ran it
Yeah.
through. So when I saw this, it says 15,000 and that explains nothing of what.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there'll be more, I mean, can't get everything on the spreadsheet. There'll be more explanation. All right,
So just, I noticed this thing, Tom, that in the paper a while ago that Goshen, they had the voters actually voted at a town meeting.
Yep.
Is that what your plan is on this, or? is
I was wondering that, how it gets.
Is this committee, is this the committee, you guys just gonna decide?
I think
I'm just asking.
a lot of towns are going in that direction with the town meeting. But I think, you obviously got to come in with a really good plan.
Yeah.
It could go sideways quickly.
Exactly.
Well, hopefully your public hearings, you can have a few of them and that'll
Yep.
give you a sense of where you're going.
By the time you get done with that,
Right, if you think that it's gonna be plus, actually, if they can be tough, but sometimes you get some good feedback too.
Yeah.
Things you don't even think of or
And
something.
it ticks the fairness box.
Yep.
I think that's important.
everyone's got a little voice in it.
Or, yeah.
Little town hall meeting or whatever they call
You know what?
Yeah, so before we get to a town meeting, we'll definitely
Yeah, we-
have to have a couple little informational sessions.
Okay, yeah, but it's,
Input,
and it'll be really tight by the time town meeting.
exactly.
So are you going to send a note out to the people who submitted these and tell them what they have to do?
Yep, and just to make sure that it's still on board, do they still want to receive any funding? Specific with do with the funding. I know historical site they're still working on their proposal.
Did you put the numbers back in that were there?
I did. Took them right out, they're gone.
Yeah, so that was 200,000.
200 was just,
Just a number that is arbitrary.
Somebody's out.
Oh, no, it's needed. I mean, it's a portion of what it costs.
Yeah, 'cause-
They cost like 750,000.
Yeah,
The fire truck.
they're only getting,
Oh,
they're
I
only
hope you
going
never
up
need
to.
what's nice to have.
yeah,
I mean,
Divide
Oh,
the
yeah.
town, bring that one right to the
Yeah.
table.
yeah, I think by the time we get there, it's gonna be closer to 8,
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely.
what do we,
We're funding that right now.
250.
125 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're
We have
still,
two-
Capital project.
Well, you're about 7, 8 years short, but we're funding
yeah,
it.
we're getting there. Do you want to take the cemetery off? You said it's a private owner. Can we actually give him money?
Yeah, that's a good question for the auditor, too.
Yeah.
I will just keep it there
Yeah.
and take it off.
Put it off the island.
Can start with this and then see if it even makes the top 10 cut when we come back. You know, if we do what you said.
All my ideas just added up to just about the right amount.
Did you
guys
want a
threw in
little
all these-
star next to those?
kind
Well,
of knew
I mean,
that would happen.
I mean, the buildings themselves, you know. Back like generators. Tower over there and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of that filtration stuff just to meet the criteria of what they had in their, you know. the-
But it's not bad.
I think it's a good.
Your congregate settings, air quality, it's right there. So I'm trying to match some of the projects with exactly what they're trying to give the money for.
Right.
Even door access is, I mean, it doesn't sound like something fun to spend money on, but there's numerous people who got upset coming to this door, not reading the sign that they had to go to that door.
I did this morning.
And, you know, it just,
Are we gonna keep them locked forever or is this through the?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, Tom, another thing was security cameras. That was mentioned last time.
Yeah, I got shut down. That was me.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Remember I said on the
Still in
street
Morris for you.
I might have.
Oh, on the streets, yeah.
with all the people's,
We were talking, I was thinking more of at the pavilion.
oh yeah, no, but anywhere.
garage.
It's just, there's just so much, there's
Yeah.
just so many people coming in from outside the town, destroying, my town's,
Yeah, look at the vandalism at the town beach this year.
yeah. It's just,
Waiting on quotes from Berkshire Alarm on that. So, yeah. In what's the dirt. But does it meet, I don't know. We have a bunch of ideas for the auditor to look at least.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you have any specific questions that you would like him to ask, he's supposed to be here Monday morning, so if you want to send him in, let us know and we'll try to get him to answer it.
Regarding what, if these fit.
If it's qualified.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I'm still trying to generate a list of what other towns been doing. It's like I mentioned Goshen. I see someone from Roxbury. It's
Yeah,
what you guys come up with.
I think we're doing better. Further along, it seems.
Yeah.
Well, that you sent the questionnaire back that, right? You sent the spreadsheet of the questionnaire of what.
Yeah, you
towns are
sent
doing?
that out.
Yeah,
Yeah, what
yeah.
other towns were doing.
Yeah, yeah, there's some that we just
think-
formed a committee.
Right, Cornwall said, I don't know what the f- it used for.
I know, some people are being blatantly honest.
They're putting in a sewer system up there
In
too.
Cornwall?
Yeah.
Well,
You think they'd be like, there it all goes down the drain.
Bad, bad.
system.
All right,
Once the house down.
you wanna
Yeah.
call it?
Yeah.
Or motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting of ARPA.
I'll second that.
410.
You done for the day?
It's been done for the day. All right, I'll get the, I think Rick and I will kind of work
I
on.
don't think we voted on that, so.
You almost don't have to vote.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Actually, with the motion to adjourn, there's no vote.
Okay,
Once it's made, you're out.
thank you.
If you're interested, would you like to use a sign?
Sure. Do I keep these? Yeah.